Hello everyone, this is Chris from GBC Forest Academy. I'm here to talk on the fundamentals for week 18. Fundamentals for week 18. Okay, let's move on to it. The first is going to be interest rates. Interest is going to come in on Thursday and going to come in from Great Britain, and most likely it's going to come out unchanged, and that most likely may push the market to the downside. Then the second is equally going to be on that same Thursday, release of unemployment claims. That's going to be coming out from the US, and I think it's positive. It will equally push price to the downside, but we can never tell. Then on Friday, there's going to be GDP release from Britain. The previous was 0. Minus 0.1%. I think the forecast is 0.1% thereabout. So, however, the thing is, we cannot afford to have something that is less than the previous. So, anything greater than 0.1 to push price, more like push price to the upward side. But I actually doubt that. Okay, equally on Friday, there going to be two reports that will come out, and two reports that will come out that most likely will influence the market. One of such reports is an employment change which come out from Canada, then unemployment changes, which will probably come out from Canada too. From a technical side, if there is a break of the last week's low, which I spoke about in US card forecast, I said market will come to the downside. Of course, then of course the fifth thing which I will talk about is the demand for US dollar and Canadian dollar. That's my own personal opinion. I believe this week is going to be demand for US dollar and Canadian dollar. That's my personal opinion, like I said. This comes from the Middle East crisis because Israel will most likely invade Rafah this very week. This might slightly increase the price of crude oil, which will increase the demand for US dollar because crude oil is priced in US dollar, and of course, US gets a lot of their oil from Canada because Canada is an oil producing country. So based on that, I think for me the most greatest fundamental for me is not necessarily the interest rate, unemployment claim, GDP from Great Britain, unemployment claim, and employment change, unemployment change. I don't think those are the most concrete one. I think it's going to be for the demand for US dollar and Canadian dollar if the crisis in the Middle East will continue this very week. Companies will want to demand for more crude oil, and of course, companies want to demand for more Canadian dollar. Reason being because you don't know uncertainty. In the midst of uncertainty, you want to make sure that the things that you can hold on to that are sure, you want to hold on to those very things. So for me, the most striking one is going to be number five, the demand for US dollar and Canadian dollar. And I think if that becomes the case, British pound, Canadian dollar pair, no, sorry, British dollar, Canadian pair, yes, price will come to the downside. And equally to British pound, US dollar pair, price will definitely come to the downside. That is my personal opinion for the fundamentals of this very week. So for British pound, US dollar, we're moving to the chart, what I'm expecting price to come to the downside. Of course, I said before the previous week, I said when I was giving my forecast, I said we're actually on the supply zone on the higher time frame, and you can see we are having a structure more or less that is like an ascending wedge, and therefore means there's a lot of liquidity on the downside here. But however, I will still have to be patient, very very patient until on Thursday. And one of the greatest difficult thing to do in trading is not knowing technicals, not knowing the fundamentals. One of the hardest thing to do is to become patient, but it's something that you just have to know how to do. Knowing technicals is not a problem, knowing the fundamentals is not a problem, but the greatest difficulty is being patient.